What's good, everyone? Welcome back to another video. This is going to be a video where I kind of go over the business, how it's doing. And I'm not gonna lie, I've been kind of putting it on the back burner of sort because I've been worrying about my YouTube channels that have been doing very well. And even still, it's still doing some fantastic numbers. Let me show you some numbers. Let me show you some packaging, and let's freaking go. This video is going to be more of like a behind the scenes. Hopefully, if y'all want more content like this, I think I'm going to post it more on my main channel or maybe a couple here, we'll see. Right here is my entire stock. This is all my sealed product that I have up on the store, as well as very many cards ranging from ultra rares, full arts, couple secret rares, full art trainers, character rares, Japanese, all that type of stuff. Right here is the last couple free packs I have. I try and throw in some free stuff if it's a decent sized order, but I throw in guaranteed singles. So like example, there's like a random promo. Then we have not only the promo, just other holos and just random cool cards. Right here is a stack of cards that I want to add on. I don't want to add them just yet though, because I feel like I have such a large amount of cards. So maybe in like a couple weeks, once we start running a bit low, I'll start adding these cards. Unless you maybe see some cards in here that you would like to pick up, I can add them to the shop ASAP. Over here is some sealed packs and such that aren't in the stock yet. Something that I'm holding on to until they go up. As well as some more stock in here that I'm not adding just yet. Now, I get a bunch of comments like this all the time on my TikTok, and just in case you came from the TikTok to come over here, just to inform you, I'm not a scalper. Anytime I price something, I price it off a TCG player, sometimes eBay if it's not there, but I trust TCG player a bit more, in my personal opinion, and I can tell whether or not it is scalped up or not, and I make sure all my products are below market. And if you are a Pokemon card business, you're not going into it for these major high profits. There's times where, yes, I've had some insane ROIs, but for the most part, that's not the case. I just have a very genuine passion when it comes towards Pokemon cards, and I've been like that for very many years of liking Pokemon cards. But more so, I started this business back in February, and it's funny because I actually had to shut it down for about almost a month simply because of state taxes, having to figure that out. Once I was able to figure it out, I started selling again. And obviously that takes a big toll on the business, but even if so, this kind of toll I've had, and I've still been doing pretty good. With, in fact, almost making about $1,000 even after turning it back on, just to put into perspective. Now, when I tell you these numbers, it's not something where I'm trying to flex. This is just to be upfront and honest with you, because that's the last thing I want to do is to lie to anyone watching or supporting. Hopefully this is as transparent as I can possibly be. Now, what is the best month I've ever had on Shopify? I think it's something that is a cool question to bring up, because how much can you actually make off of Pokemon cards? Now, the most I've ever made in one day was $3,000. Now, this was a day where I sold 3 big orders, one of them being over a $2,500 order. Now, I'm not going to say the exact numbers. I think it's pretty smart to not do that, especially if IRS or taxes are watching. Obviously, I know to reinvest, and that's something to add when it comes to having some notes for if you are a Pokemon card business. Number one note I want to guarantee tell you is that you're going to have to pay taxes on everything. Sales tax as well as the income tax on it as well. What is the best thing you should do? Always write down everything. In a Google sheet, I have all my orders. I have the prices of them. But the number one thing in specific that I'm doing is I'm making sure that I write down as well on what I'm reinvesting in. I make sure I have the receipts for it, and I make sure that I show the exact amount that I spent on it, because I'm going to be able to write that off since it's going to be a business expense. And luckily, I have someone that does my YouTube channels. We'll hopefully see if I can do and buy someone that pay for someone to help me. That sounds really bad. Paid to someone to help me write off a lot of this stuff, because this is something you're going to need to do as a business. Because if you don't write off the stuff that you reinvest, you're going to have to spend a lot of money on taxes that you don't need to. And that's something I'm definitely going to do, right? Another big thing when it comes to having a another big thing when it comes to having a Pokemon card business is to make sure that you have stock that you're holding on to. Now, what I mean by that is I'm treating some of this Pokemon stuff, now not all of it, of course, but I treat some of it kind of like an investment, right? You can buy this investment and it's going to go up over time. That's how Pokemon cards have been for very many years. And one thing I've done in specific is I've noticed some cards that I love. And I know if I love some of these cards, there's going to be other people out there that like some of the cards too. So there's definitely a bunch of packs. Crown Zenith, for example, is a big one. Shining Fates, I have a bunch. And Brilliant Stars, which I feel like is an underrated one that I've invested a good amount into. And I know I'm just going to hold on to over time. The other one is Celebrations. I invested in that back in 2021. And it's been a big, huge thing now to where I've been able to make money on Celebrations, which is crazy. I bought it back in 2021. Now it's starting to do better. And this is the thing. It's not something that I made like double my money on. It's just a bit more that I was able to make. And before I even started this Pokemon card business, I in fact had literally no money to my name. I had not more than $100. I spent a couple, I think like 15, 20 bucks on the name of matrixcollect.com. And I actually went through a $1 a month for 2 months through like a code or whatever. And crazy enough, it was one of those things where I was like, well, hopefully I can make $40 before this so I can afford this subscription on Shopify. And it's something I never really expected. Was I don't even know how to word this without just being in pure shock. In the first 3 weeks, I was able to make $120. And that to me is a lot. And I'm still at the point where I think $5 is a lot of money. I know a lot of people that think $5 is literally penny change, which is totally, you can do you. I'm just at a point where $5, $10 is still so much money to me. And it was just crazy to see $120, right? And that was mind blowing. And then kept making more and more sales every other week. And then it started getting to a couple times a week. Then it started going to almost daily. And then it became this really, really big day. I'm just doing my normal stream as usual. I Twitch stream. That makes a nice bit of revenue. Plus, it's a good way to promote the business as well. Anyone that really does support me can see that, and just more impressions. It's definitely good. But actually, before I even got the $3,000 sale, I feel like I should backtrack a little bit. Basically, when I saw TikTok Shop, I have my boy, his name's Frankie. He helped me with my streams. He helped me set those up, funny enough. And he also helped me set up Shop Pay and TikTok Shop. Now, those are two big things. When you set up a Pokemon card business, one of the things you want to do the most is TikTok Shop. TikTok Shop will get you so many different sales, but there will be a bunch of backlash. There's a lot of people that do no information. They just spread misinformation on you. That will happen a lot. I've had people refund me. I've had people do false reviews. I've even had people call me scalpers and tell me my prices are overpriced when they never do their research. That's something that you're going to notice if you do a Pokemon card business. The way that you're able to beat whatever they're saying is to make sure that they are lying, right? So make sure that you're selling below, make sure you're not scalping, and then obviously you're not a liar, so you're good. That's something I've realized. At first, I was like, is this going to tarnish the business? But then obviously I realized, since I'm not a liar, I know this is going to be perfectly fine. It's in God's hands, right? And Shop Pay. Shop Pay is actually where I got my biggest day, where it promoted my business. Now, Shop Pay is basically an app where you can literally buy stuff. And this is actually where it's got me some of my biggest sales, but it's also something that I didn't realize, which I'm going to make actually, I think I've already made a video about it, where I lost $400, and this was from a scammer. Now, the bank might get back to me. It may not, it may do. It would be cool if the bank was on my side with this. Basically, I submitted a chargeback, and basically this chargeback, or they submitted a chargeback, and basically what happened was they charged back and they said it was fraud, even though they never even received the product before even claiming fraud. Unfortunately, it's a very unfortunate case. Now, luckily, I have videos and such to be able to say this was real authentic stuff. However, it's all up to the customer's bank whether or not they will give you the money. If they don't give me the money, is what it is. $435 I'm looking at right now, down the drain is what it is. It's something I've learned. Unfortunately, it did say high risk or high fraud detected from Shopify. Something I could have should have just rejected it. I could have just refunded him automatically there. However, the reason I didn't do so was because I reached out to the person and there was a pretty good story. And obviously, it was just some type of pathological liar type of thing, to where he was able to come up with stuff on the spot, something like that. It wasn't something that it took a while. No, it was an immediate response, an immediate type of thing. It looked pretty realistic. All I can do. And there's a chance when there's high risk, high fraud, that could be the chance of the card declining because it was such a big order. That was kind of my thought on it. If you ever see on Shopify high risk or fraud detected, just reject it. Just refund it immediately. There's no reason to do it. If Shopify is telling you, it's more than likely pretty accurate. And that's something I should have looked at, but it is what it is. Technically, by the time I'm recording this video, tomorrow should be the time where the customer's bank will receive the response on July 23rd at 2025, 7 p.m. And I'll get an update. I can update response if I needed to. I think I've sent enough info when it comes to text messages and stuff like that. It's really unfortunate. I'm not gonna lie. You know, is what it is. I definitely lost not only the $400 of product, but I also had to pay for all the other stuff that went into, you know, the order. You know, I'm glad I moved past it. I gotta stop looking at this thing on my screen. But other than that type of scam, that scam happened as soon as I opened the business back up. By the way, it was very bad timing. But to inform you, this will happen in business. There are people out there that are so low-lived that they will do that. And to the reasons why they do that, maybe they need the money, right? I don't know what that guy's situation is. I can only pray and hope that, you know, for him having to do that, he might need the money that bad, right? Hopefully he needed it so bad that he had to do something that bad. You know, I can only wish that he doesn't do that to other small businesses, because doing that to a small business, doing that to steal to anywhere is not good, but to do it to a small business is obviously like the worst of the worst. But to inform you, I've done about 80 orders. That's the only person I've ever run into that big of an issue. The only other issue I've run into was someone mad that they didn't get a partial refund when they were completely lying. All they wanted was money. Simple as that. They paid $4 and TikTok discount paid $150 of it. They tried to get money out of it and it didn't work. So it is what it is there. Again, people will do these things. What you have to do is just keep moving forward, and you have to keep showing your best self. Keep promoting your product. And honestly, when it comes to promotion of product, there's multiple ways to do so. Instagram is a big one that I love doing because you can get direct shop purchases, which means you get your money quicker from Shopify. If you use TikTok, which a great promotion, you do have to wait 30 days after your product is delivered to the customer in order to get some money, which is totally fine. It's definitely good for the customer to be able to be safe with that. And then the number one thing that I used to love to do was YouTube. I don't do much YouTube anymore because this is more Pokemon Go. However, I would definitely love to promote my Pokemon card business more. And it would just be fun to keep growing it, to see how far I can go and to hopefully help others. This video was kind of just like a yap video, but hopefully there's some information about it. Maybe I went off track when it came to the scam. My bad. I appreciate y'all showing up to this video. God bless. Jesus loves y'all. Have a great day. I'll see y'all in the next one.